'Cause you're here.
Renny, I love this iteration of The Strangers, and I think The Strangers is one of the most terrifying concepts because it could happen. Now, much of the fear from the original film kind of comes from the idea that the strangers are kind of unknowable random maniacs. Can you talk about balancing that idea with explaining where the world of the strangers and where they come from?
Really good question, and yes, that's the premise of our movie, which is really this giant 4.5 hour movie broken into these 3 chapters, and the premise is really in the first movie that takes its idea from the original The Strangers, which is that it's a home invasion movie, and there's this what was brilliant about it was that it is random, that these people just show up, there's no rhyme or reason, they are just sadistically playing cat and mouse with these victims, and ultimately just kill them and walk away. And we all are accustomed to expecting that everything is explained, and there's a nice little, end to every story, and there wasn't, and that's why it was so powerful, because it showed the randomness of life. And we wanted to explore these certain themes of, okay, what is this all about? What makes these killers tick? What happens to the victims? If you survive this, then what would happen to you next day and the day after that? Not to do a sequel in a traditional sense where it's like, no, it's 2 years later and we are somewhere else and something else is happening to somebody else, but really sticking with our protagonist and seeing the physical and psychological damage in them. So that was our premise and guiding light. And again, the important thing was the reality. So it never starts feeling like a movie, but it's real life. And that we don't neatly start telling like, oh, the strangers came from here and they did it because of this, and then we'd rather, by the end of the third movie, we'd rather leave the audience again with a bunch of unanswered questions. We'll answer some. We felt like, for example, like, who is Tamara? We wanted to explain that, so that the audience has something that they get in that sense, but not at all start explaining everything, who's who and why.
Is Tamara here?
No.
Now, I love the way that you build tension in this movie because you can cut it with a knife. Can you talk about paying homage to the original while adding something new to this film?
We really felt like the original film is such a classic. We want to pay homage to it, and this is called The Stranger, so it's not like we're just going to go on our own ego trip and do something completely different. And the premise is the home invasion with a young couple in a house, but then we go in new directions from there. So I felt, as a fan of the original film, I felt like it was really crucial to have certain markers, certain like tent poles or touchstones from the original film that you feel like, okay, I get it. It's that world, it's those themes, it's that feeling of tension and dread and so on. And it's the strangers, it's the mass killers. But at the same time, I wanted the film also to feel original and to sort of develop same kind of scenarios, such as somebody knocks on the door and says, it's Tamara here, or that you lock your windows and doors and you're inside the house only to realize that the perpetrators are also inside the house. So those are the kind of really, really key things that I think are important to experience in the same fashion as in the original film, but then develop new scenes.
I also love the Alfred Hitchcock influences in the film. Incredible job. I can't wait for chapter 2 and 3.
Thank you.
Lock the front door!